last week or so. I heard you were
Okay.
involved with some
Okay.
training. Whenever you're ready, take your time.
Okay. Presently, I'm working with Layman Brewster. He's the world heavyweight boxing champion, WBO belt, and he's got a big fight. Next fight is coming up in Germany, September 28th. But I do a lot of mental training and empowerment training, and what I've been doing with him is more working with optimum warrior mentality, samurai mentality, mental states, or optimum peak performance mental states. So as you know, when it really comes down to it, no matter how well somebody's trained, the difference in one opponent facing another, or really being able to accomplish and achieve something, is having that mental edge, being in that zone or that kind of Zen state. So last week I was in Las Vegas all week working with Layman Brewster and helping him to get dialed in mentally to be in the best mental conditioning for this upcoming fight to defend his title.
Okay. And was it a good experience? Did it go well?
Everything went great. Best thing is to kind of try to work on really clearing their mind, getting them back in a very kind of more alpha cleansed state where nothing is influencing them, kind of that Zen mentality. So they throw everything out of their mind and almost like they're going into battle to die in a way. And just they've lived the best life that they can under circumstances. They're either going to win or die, that kind of mentality, like a original Japanese samurai.
And just talk a little bit more about the training you do, just more the fundamental component expanding on.
Okay. Well, all my background is actually in Shotokan karate under my teacher, Master Tsutomu Oshima. I've been training and teaching for going on 40 years now. And in karate and martial arts, your worst opponent isn't some big 6'7" guy. Your worst opponent is yourself, facing your own fears, insecurities, mental blocks, inhibitions, and expanding your mentality so you have nothing kind of holding you back or resisting you. So I've tried to really push that to the next limit from old stories I'd hear from my teacher, Mr. Oshima, about this training practices the samurai used to do. They train 8, 10, 12 hours a day, pushing themselves beyond all physical, mental limits in a way. And that really kind of gave them the mental fortitude and mental internal strength and discipline to be able to break all these barriers. So I've tried to make that probably my main specialty or expertise in life, and tried to, everything I've done has been challenges to set myself in those type of situations, whether it's climbing mountains or 24-hour karate practices or doing 60,000 front punches.
Let's talk about how this is also applicable to non-heavyweight champions, but sort of normal people, i.e. someone like Daniel who comes into your training class. For beginners, how it can help them, not just for these.
Got it, okay. Okay. This is applicable, this kind of philosophy and concept is applicable to anybody, because all human beings, we all have mental blocks, insecurities, fears, and that's what really inhibits our accomplishments and success in our daily life. Is sometimes our conscious mind, we want to make more money, become a better person, become very successful, but at the same time, because some previous issues or psychological problems or issues we've had in the past, the way we were raised, our subconscious mind is saying, no, I don't want to. I'm afraid to do that, or I'm afraid to do this, or I have some mental blocks on that. I don't want that type of responsibility. So in karate and martial arts, for the everyday person in a really extreme, strong, hard karate practice, you have to really push yourself and face yourself. And these mental blocks and insecurities will come up in a practice, no matter who you are. You could be an artist or a musician like Daniel, or any kind of professional, a sports athlete, or a computer scientist. Doesn't matter. You still have to push yourself where you don't have mental blocks that inhibits us. And the most important thing I've noticed when I first met Daniel over, 30 years ago, he had a certain mentality and consciousness to already jump in and push himself. When we all come into some art like this, we're seeking and searching something. So he was attracted there for some reason. And there's a lot of phony places out there too. There's very few really traditional martial art, karate, yoga arts that are really traditional. So it's nice when you're attracted to a really pure lineage that way and able to push yourself. So when he first came in, I noticed the first couple practices that week, he really pushed himself to the ultimate degree, not even knowing anything or being conditioned and just arms going all over the place, but he did his best and pushed himself to his limit. And that's what kind of gave me a little spark. God, someday this guy is going to do something and be successful and be somebody and influence a lot of people.
Cool. Anything else you wanted to add about the way that the training you've given has influenced Daniel? Is there anything else you wanted to say about that?
Okay, I got some. It'd be really nice in today's society if everybody loved each other and was very peaceful, of course. But in reality, that's not the case. Of all the skirmishes and wars and things and hatred and revengefulness that we have all over the planet there. And people get attached to this negativity and this hatefulness. And when it really comes down to it, that hatefulness or anger that we hold in ourselves works against ourselves. The more, if we're angry at somebody else, you're not hurting anybody else, you're just hurting yourself because you're keeping yourself in that angry mental state. And it's until you release that and let go or forgive that person, you can't accomplish hardly anything. It's all under anger type mentality. So, this warrior's way, this warrior's path isn't just fighting. I mean, a true warrior, when he draws a sword, he really uses it, but 99.9% of the time, he's not going to draw a sword. With a really strong mentality of a warrior, they can control other people by virtue of their own mind. We have a saying, if you don't want to get wet, you jump in the lake. By sticking your toe in that, showing that resistance, you're not accomplishing anything. After you jump in the lake and you're wet, you don't have to worry about it or anticipate it anymore. It's like putting your foot on the brakes and gas of your car at the same time. You don't go anywhere. We have another old saying, with the samurais, like if you're under the sword right here, under the sword is hell. And if you try to get out and you try to block, you go this way, that way, you're going to get cut, hurt, killed, or maimed. But beyond the sword is heaven. So right when that sword is coming down, of course, with the right timing, when it comes down, if you shoot in an attack, you attack your opponent's attack. Beyond the sword, behind them is heaven. So life is the same thing. When we have a problem, a lot of people run away from their problems and try to avoid it instead of facing each one straight and strict and strong. It may burn and hurt for a little bit, but it'll be a shorter period of time. The more you run away from it, it's going to chase you and hurt for many years after that.
Cool. Great.
I can babble on forever,